So you want to quit your job. There are 4 things. Okay, yes, my dog has eyebrows, okay? So you're here because you're like, Linz, I freaking hate my job. I want to quit. My boss sucks. I don't make enough money. Like, is this what I'm going to do with my life, is like sit at this desk forever?
I'm a peacock. You gotta let me fly.
Okay, if you're having like one of those existential crises, and you're finding yourself like typing on monster.com, like, where else can I work? Please, God, let there be more to life. If you're having one of those moments, I'm so glad that you're watching this video, because I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do while you're still working your shitty job. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do so the next job you can really enjoy. Step number 1, you've got to gather information. But what am I gathering information on? This is going to sound wild, but the most important thing is your own self-awareness. There's a reason that you don't like your job right now. Maybe it's you don't like the team that you work with. Maybe you don't like the skills that you're having to learn. It could be a million things, but the only person that knows why you don't like it is you. So here's some things you want to figure out about who you are first, okay? You want to know your skills. What have you been trained to do over your lifetime? I don't care what it is. I used to be a drummer for a band, so I've got musicianship like in my pocket all the time. I use it when we're running sound for my podcast, when we're doing these videos. I think about the technical side because I happen to be a musician, right? So what skills have you built over time? It could be anything. Cooking, you're really good at navigating a city, you're really good at directions. I don't care what it is, but would you just take a minute, like write down the skills that you know that you're good at, okay? You're gonna wanna know, you guys, my dog down here is spazzing out. Oh, I got her. I got another one. Okay, honestly, guys, you haven't played all day. And as soon as I do a video, can we do this later? Okay, great. Okay. So the next one, your strengths. What naturally comes easy to you? Have you ever heard of Strengths Finders? You can Google it. You want to find out the themes, what you naturally, maybe you're great at communicating. Maybe you're great at playing with dogs. I don't know what your strengths are. But your strengths are these natural things that you're born with that always kind of drive you. Developing people could be one. Do you see how they're not hardcore skills? They're just kind of themes like communication, developing people, helping people grow. Those are what your strengths are. What are yours that come naturally? I wonder if you already know what they are and if you can write them down. Here's the next one, your values. What is gonna get you up in the morning? Okay, I gotta be honest, the thing that gets me up in the morning is fun. If I don't have fun every day, I'm out. That's why I have dogs in my videos, they get to be a part of it. That's why I make sure I go for a walk with them every day and go play in the park. Fun is my highest value. And I remember when I first figured that out, I was actually like kind of embarrassed. Like it should be something more professional than fun. But for me, that's what makes me tick. I love it. I couldn't work in like a stuffy setting where I don't get to be myself and be kind of fun and playful. So what are your top values? What matters most to you? Especially, we talk about like, oh, work-life balance, there's a separation. Not really, not anymore. So if you can't be yourself at work, that might be something that's really important to you, that you work for a place when you walk in, you feel like you can own all that you are, the diverse person that you are. So what are your values? It'll probably be easy to figure those out based on what is pissing you off right now. Some of your values are probably being disrupted, but you're probably not getting to live them out, and that's one of the reasons you're frustrated and want to quit. So what do you value most? Okay, what else do you need to know about yourself? What about your personality? What about your temperament? Some of us are super outgoing, and you being in a sales role would be a fun game that you would love to be out and about all the time. Some of us are more introverted, or some of us are extroverted, right? So maybe you're an introvert and you're like, I really recharge by myself. Being with people all day be really tiring. I like a blend of working by myself and then in teams. I don't know what that blend is for you, what your personality is, all the pieces of it, but there are tons of those online. It's not even worth me building one because you can just Google personality test. Here's a couple that you could Google. You could Google the Enneagram. That's a really good one. ENNEAGRAM. There's tests for that one. You guys all know Myers-Briggs. Hopefully you can just Google MBTI. You'll see that come up. You can take that assessment. Go to BuzzFeed and figure out if you're like a pizza or like a hot dog. I don't care what it is, but you've got to learn more about your personality. I know over time I've had to accept kind of how I'm wired. and be cool with it. Part of how I'm wired is I am an introvert, so I can do these fun videos, I can be out in public, but then I've got to have time to recharge and be by myself. So everybody's different. It's really important that you know your personality, your temperament, how you're wired, how much structure you need, how much openness you like, how much freedom you need, how much guidance you need. You want to know these things about you so when you look for a job, you can find one that really matches you. Okay, how about this last one? This is the hardest one, your desires. What do you really want? We know what you don't want, what you're doing right now, right? We know you don't want that. So what do you long for out of your career? How important is it to have meaning? Whose lives do you want to change? Where do you want to be in your life in 10 years? What do you long for? What would serve you and show and remind you that your life matters? What do you want most out of this life? That's a huge question, but the best way to figure out what you want is to, in your mind, and I would get a piece of paper out, write down your ideal day at work. What would be my perfect dream day? I don't care what it is. I come in at 10 o'clock. I have a smoothie from the smoothie bar. I hang out with my buddies for 2 hours. We work on a creative project. I do a few hours of whatever it is, client engagement. I don't care what it is, but can you dream that out for yourself? If you can't see it right now, it will be very hard to find out in the world. You'll basically have to take somebody else's dream and run with it. Okay, so we're talking about quitting your job. You want to quit now, but I'm telling you to pause for a minute and at least do this first step. Learn about who you are. Really gather all this information about yourself. Ask the people that know you best. What do you see are my top skills and strengths? Ask people, what do I tend to bitch about at my job right now? Help me remember why I'm not happy here and what I need to be looking for. This step, the most self-aware person in a room is the most powerful, because you don't end up doing stuff that you don't like to do or that you're not good at. You end up doing the things that make sense based on how you're wired. So there's this real concept here of, before I go anywhere else, let me remember who I am and figure out who I am. Okay, step number 2 is to investigate. Before you hand in your 2-week notice, see what the hell is out there. I don't know what city you live in. I don't know what brand new opportunities are coming your way. I don't know if you want to move to a new place, right? But you're going to want to know before you do it. So this idea of investigating only comes after you've figured out who you are and you're able to clearly articulate it. Then you can go out and say, hey, what industries really intrigue me? Maybe it's the restaurant industry. Maybe it's banking. I don't know what it is. You know what it is. But I'll tell you one thing, technology is changing industries rapidly. So there might be something that you never considered before that you may really enjoy now because most of it's automated and you get to be in front of people instead. I don't know, what industries excite you, right? And this next one, the size of the organization. You're going to want to, based on how you're wired, decide if you want to be in a big monster or like a smaller size or maybe a mid-sized company. So here's a couple things to think about. If you're in a huge company, there's a ton of structure. There's a lot of process around your job. You're going to be educated, guided. There's going to be other people that are doing what you're doing, right? If you're in a small company, think about like a startup of 5 people. Everybody in that startup is like a cowboy. You're all kind of helping each other out and making it happen. Startups mean you have to be super self-motivated, self-directed. You want to be resourceful. You don't need a lot of people giving you input. You can just make it happen. You see how those 2 personalities would want? The same person could not work at each one of those places. You're going to be drawn to one or the other, or somewhere in between. Okay, the next thing, investigate. If you're going to quit your job, another thing to ask is like, is this where I want to live in the country? Is there somewhere else I want to check out? Do I want to move to LA? Do I want to move to San Antonio? Do I want to try a new place? I think you should come live in Indy. Indianapolis is awesome. But there's a lot of different cities with different personalities that you may really enjoy. And to know the location you want to be at, that might be something good to know before you just quit, right? And here's the last one, workplace culture. This is huge. When I coach millennials regularly about their career, when I coach them, what we talk about often is how important workplace culture is. Essentially this, what is the personality of this company? Because you may Google somebody's website, a company's website, it might be super sexy, but then when you actually walk in, you're like, it's kind of tense here, or they have like a pool table and a beer pong setup, but nobody's touching it. So do they actually allow people to play, or is that just like on their website? You're going to want to really understand the cultures that are out there and the type of culture that you want to be a part of. Do you want to be in a really casual environment where people are friends and go out to work after, right? What kind of environment do you want to be in? Okay, we're 2 steps down. Hopefully you haven't quit your job yet, right? So if you have, you're going to be okay too. We can talk about that. But so far I've said, hey, gather information about yourself and then investigate. All this is happening while you're still, or I'm still here, everything is normal, but you're doing these things. Okay, step 3, networking. Oh, did anybody hear that word and just be like, I'm out, peace, I don't want to network? Okay, here's the thing. The people that you know will guide the trajectory of your life as much as your personal goals will. The connections that you have will guide you as much as your goals. So you can be a super goal-driven person, but if you don't want anybody to help you or you don't want a team around you to help you, man, that's gonna be really hard. We've done research on what makes people successful. You know what makes people successful? The people around them. So we gotta get you around people that like the things that you do, that are in the industries that you're in, that can push you and open up doors for you. That makes sense, doesn't it? People get jobs because their sister's neighbor wants this type of job. We call them, what are they called? Meg J talks about this. I can't believe I just blanked on this. I really thought it would come to me. Meg J. Basically, they're secondary connections. Meg J's a psych researcher. She researches career, and she talks about how it's not like your neighbor that's gonna get you the job, it's your neighbor's aunt, right? So if you're like, hey, I really wanna work at the Children's Museum, you may not know anybody that works at the Children's Museum, but somebody that you know knows somebody that works at the Children's Museum. It doesn't have to be a direct connection to you. Oh, loose ties. Boom. Thank you. Anyways, loose ties. People that are one connection away for you. And think about it this way. If, say you have 1,000 people in your social media conglomerate between Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, you know 1,000 people. Every person on average probably has at least 1,000 people that they're connected to and have run into over the course of their career. That means that you are one person away from 1,000,000 connections. You know 1,000 people. If you told those 1,000 people, hey, I'm looking for someone that works at the Children's Museum, between those thousands people and their 1,000 people, that's 1,000,000 people. You know 1,000,000 people, it's not that hard then, is it? You want to work at Google? I know somebody that I used to play in a band with that works there, right? That's what we're talking about. Okay, so networking is about getting the right people in your circle. Here's a couple different areas. Your direct contacts, telling people, this is who I am, I gathered info on myself, and this is what I'm looking for, this is what I've investigated. Now you have a combo, a power combo there where they can actually help you, your direct contacts. This is also how you create loose ties. I just had this happen to a client. She went and said, I want to be an engineer for a creative type company. Well, her dad's buddy had a job that opened up and he hired her. That's what we're talking about. That's why you have to know who you are and what you're looking for. Okay, you've got your social media contacts, obviously. You've got the loose ties we talked about, which is Meg J's research. We've got informational interviews. What the hell is that? You want to work at the Children's Museum, but you actually don't know if it's fun to work there or if that's a good fit for you. So you're going to have to find people that do work there. Okay, so you go on and you say, does anybody know anybody that works at the Children's Museum? I just want 15 minutes of their time. They can call me on the way to the grocery store. Just want to ask them some questions. And you're going to get to know people that work at the company. Why would I do that? Here's why. You know how everybody's like dating online now, right? So I find somebody on Coffee Meets Bagel or some random dating app, and none of my friends know them. How many times does that person end up being a weirdo? Most of the time, right? I'm just kidding. Some of the time though. We all have a horror story. So it's kind of like, if you're looking at companies from the outside, it's like you're on a dating app and the internet's like, you should know this company. And you're like, oh, they look so cool. Look at their website. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. They have cool couches from IKEA. And then you actually get to know the company. You're like, this company's a creep. I don't want to ever go on a date with this company ever again. Well, the best way to do that is to just know the employees. Just like if you're going to date somebody that none of your friends know, you kind of want to meet their friends. That's going to tell you real quick if this person's worth dating, right? Okay, so that's what informational interviews are all about. You want to get to know the people that work at the companies that you're interested in to see if they fit your personality, they fit your drive, right? Okay, The last one is networking groups. Say you're like, I want to get into coding. You can go to meetup.com and start hanging out with coders and see what you think. That's a great way to get to know people, get connected to them, and try new things on. Again, all of this can be happening while you're still at your job. And the reason I say that is this. If you quit now and you don't know where you're going, now you've got two stressors. You still don't have a new job, and now you don't have money. That's a double whammy. That puts you in a really hard spot. There's a good chance you're not gonna make the highest conscious decision for yourself. You're gonna make a decision to kind of protect yourself and have an income, right? So I want so much more than that for you. That's why we're doing those 3 steps first. The 4th step is the most fun. You get to choose. This is what's so cool about life right now. Especially, dude, if you graduated from high school in the US, or if you're in a first world country and you graduated high school, you know, as long as you're literate, right? The world is your oyster. You can, and what the hell does that mean? I don't know. People say it. I think what they mean is this. You have so many opportunities. You want to start your own business? Awesome. You want to work someplace? You want to get good in sales? You want to do real estate? Great. You have so many more options than you can think in the moment when you just hate your current job. There's so much out there, and ultimately you are the only one that chooses how you spend your one very fast, quick life. You're the only one that can make that happen. And so this last step is constantly being conscious of the fact every day, I am choosing this life. I am choosing this life. It's not happening to me. I'm choosing it. So who am I going to be? How do I want to show up in the world? What do I enjoy doing? What do I want to spend half of my waking hours on will be at your job. I hope you fucking like it, you know? Where do you want to spend your time? You're answering all these questions because that's your choice. And then what type of people do you want to work with? Do you want to work with creatives? Do you want to work with highly intellectual people? Do you want to work for somebody like Elon Musk? Who do you want to work with? You get the final call. Nobody can take that from you. And I'll tell you, your choice will be stronger if you're still making an income and you're not putting additional stress on yourself. So don't quit your job till you do these 4 steps. I'm here to support you. I'm here. You can always shoot me a message underneath. Tell me what stood out to you in the video. Ask me a question. I'll answer it myself. Thanks so much.